5:30. Let's call this meeting to order. It is 5:31 on September 22nd, 2021, and we'll begin.
All right.
Present is Laura Gorbo, Candace Linehan, myself, Anthony Chui, and Cindy Longo is taking minutes.
And Elaine Silva is.
Oh, forgive me. Elaine
Elaine,
Silva is also here.
Are you concerned public tonight? Are you a COVID? What's your title tonight?
I'm COVID tracer.
COVID tracer. Great.
I think that's what my new title is today.
Okay. I think we need to get you a cape. So welcome, Anthony.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited to get started. I've already been started for about a week now, so this is week 2. I want to say thank you to Elaine and all of our staff here. They set me up really well here, and the transition has been basically seamless. I think I'm still getting used to a few of these meetings, so I get the right mind space that we're in Wakefield right now.
Yep.
Keeping track of the 2 is still a little difficult, but I'm getting there. So yeah, thank you all so much for all the support, and I'm ready to get started to help you guys.
Wonderful. We're so looking forward to working with you.
Yeah.
When you have time, Anthony, I would love to just connect with you. You can, and we did that, years ago when Ruth got, Elaine and I, just so you know, have the longest history on the board. And we came on as the health department was doing a regionalization project with Melrose. So I remember, sitting with Ruth individually and that's all, that's always an opportunity anytime you want to talk to a board member, but because we're such a small board, I can't talk to both of us in the same room because that would be against all of the open meeting laws. So, we always kind of say that about our Board of Health. It's like, don't assume any of us know anything because we can't really talk to each other, but you're always able to, anything that's just information only, like quick update, this just happened, you can blast to us as long as we don't have a conversation about it as a group on an email kind of thing. And so it's a challenge, but we have such strong people and such competent people in the department that we're just here to make a big mission statement, see how it goes.
Yeah, and just to let you guys know, moving forward, the policy for my office is the door is always open. I'm very much happy to just talk about issues whenever they come up, or even if it's not issues. Hopefully, it's not one of those kind of conditional relationships we have. You can come to me even when there's not issues, right? And you want to talk about things. I'm always there, and I think the mission is to have us work as a team, and we're all on the same side, and our goal is to serve the community and the citizens. So definitely open to just talking about anything that there is.
Great. So I guess doesn't look like there's anyone on from the public tonight. So I guess we can close public participation.
Done.
And I don't know, Anthony, was there anything else you wanted to share?
Yeah, so I guess I'll just go over a little bit. So I've already been involved in the kind of COVID response here, obviously. I think last Friday we had a COVID call, the standard COVID call. And so I was able to go over some of the metrics for, cases here in Wakefield. We kind of reviewed a little bit about the vaccination rates here. We've been looking at the vaccination rates by age range, as well as looking at cases in schools. And so we've been trying to get a grasp of how Wakefield is doing moving forward and moving into this fall winter season. And so we're trying to get a better picture of that. This Friday, there's another COVID call. And so I've been speaking to Doug Lyons, the superintendent. We've been talking about how we can collaborate on just generating kind of a comprehensive report on Friday, so everyone can go to one place to find the information they need. We also, I guess we can talk about some of the flu clinics we have coming up. So we have one, and Cindy, you can correct me if I'm making mistakes with dates, but I think we have one on October 2nd. That's Festival by the Lake. And so we have Cataldo helping us with that event. So we're doing flu shots there. And it's going to be run through our new system of color. And Cataldo is also using color as well. We have one October 21st, and that's going to be the drive-through flu clinic at the Galvin Middle School. So we're really hoping to promote these two events as kind of the big vaccine for flu shots this year. And we also have a to be determined date for the family night, and that's hopefully going to reach some of our younger students here, younger kids. We're gonna have some PD doses for flu shots, and that should help us reach a lot of the people here in the town. So just to give kind of a heads up as to some of the events moving forward.
Great.
And those clinics you just mentioned aren't going to have PD doses? Those two that are already scheduled?
The first
Those
two
are
are going to be those are 19 plus only. There's not going to be PD doses, and then the final family night will have the PD doses.
Okay.
It should be 18 plus.
Or 18 plus. Is that what we have on our? I think it's 19 we have on our messaging. Is that
18 is adult.
Oh, I think we may need to review that. I think
So
it's 19 right now, but
so Cindy, you probably have some awareness of this as well, but this venture with Cataldo is new. And we did not have the opportunity to discuss this joint venture as a board. It just kind of happened. I think Cataldo was helping us with, and doing the family clinics for COVID, and we have just historically, the town the department with the leadership of the public health nurse has always been able to sort of make decisions about how we wanted to pursue flu vaccination, and how that would look, and then work on our volunteer base. And we grew quite a volunteer base with the H1N1 element. Now the COVID response that we were able to do last spring, I'm sure you heard about it, was a colossal effort. And then the governor changed tact and said that he really wanted things to be done. And, and that bit made sense. But going forward, I'm a little perplexed as how we, and I know that you kind of just were, like this is what happened.
right.
But it is an anomaly that we didn't have the opportunity as a board to figure out whether or not we even wanted to include Cataldo. So that was kind of a top-down decision, I think, that came from emergency management and town manager. And I'm perplexed as to whether we're working with them or they're on their own, and how are we, and how does that look to the community? Because I'm, I don't know that we're going to have Cataldo's records and the community's going to call us and ask us, I need verification, like some funny things could happen. I may be overly concerned. I'm a stickler for process, and I'm kind of a stickler for I like to think about kind of historically how we've done things. So
Yeah. I think
it is what it is. I'm just like, huh.
No, and I totally agree. So I think this kind of being the first, I guess this is kind of the first flu season for me here, as well as with our public health nurse, Melissa. In terms of the ordering, so the ordering for the vaccines was done prior to her coming on. I think it was Karen, our previous public health nurse, that was doing that. We actually spoke with Tom Walsh, our emergency management coordinator, and so this decision generally, I think, from a point of principle, we should, in the future, be discussing this with the board. This is something that we should be deciding as a group. But I think for this season, the reasoning behind why we decided to have Cataldo involved was because it was kind of a combination of factors. We've been speaking about kind of a shortage of needles, so appropriate needles, the 1-inch 22 to 25 gauge needles. We actually had some issues with stock, and so we've been trying to find a place to get them, but we haven't had as much success. So one of the advantages that Cataldo was actually able to provide us with this year was they would bring their own supply. And so this would kind of alleviate some of the concerns with our public health nurse having to figure this out.
Right.
And I think another portion of it was, and the part you brought up about the community, trust and building that kind of volunteer base and everything, I think that's really important. And, I think this year might just be an anomaly in terms of just getting ourselves oriented and getting the flu shots out. From my perspective, I think moving forward in the years coming, I think we should really take the lead again in terms of doing those community vaccinations and making sure that, we're involved in that. I think this year really is just going to be a little bit off in terms of us not doing it. We're still going to be the sponsors for these events, so we'll still have a presence there. I just finished talking to Cindy about some of the logistics. So we have a few things we need to work out with Cataldo in terms of giving out high doses. And so part of it is using color. And so if Cataldo for some reason doesn't have the capability to kind of triage this group, the high dose group, Cindy and or someone that's trained in color in our staff can work with a nurse to possibly supplement that as well. So in ways we are still being involved, and we want to make sure that this isn't just a Cataldo event, but I think just for this season with everything kind of coming so quickly together, I think just having that flexibility of Cataldo was helpful.
It could be a pretty cool partnership. So I guess we just need clarification because two of us, the entire board are licensed. It's not unusual. We are doers. So we have been asked to give feedback as to when we would be available for these clinics. And so we need a clarification on roles. And I'm getting a little stuck in the weeds. I admit it. If it's Cataldo, maybe it's all Cataldo because of just licensing, malpractice issues, or if it's volunteering for the town, it's volunteering for the town. So we just need to, and Cataldo is on for tomorrow already, right?
That's COVID.
For COVID, right? I'm sorry, that's
okay.
COVID. You're right, Cindy. So they've been doing fine with COVID, so that's excellent. Maybe what we can do the next meeting is just put on the agenda kind of an update of how it's gone and what we figured out for the communication. Because it was really great that Cataldo was able to come in and offer those very concentrated COVID opportunities, because we didn't have the capacity any longer. But I just, that we have to tread carefully because we're working on 2 vaccines now. And I got my password for color, but I don't know what to do with it. So
I did too. I have an account, and then I set up an account, and then there was nothing more to do.
Right. So we just need to figure out as volunteers what, and
Right.
when
And
are we doing things.
I think Cindy can speak more to this a little bit after, but I mean, she's been through the whole color training, and she's probably one of our most knowledgeable staff here about that. But in terms of, I guess, just this year, we want to make sure that we give that buffer time. So before the next flu season, we're already talking about next flu season, but before the next flu season, we're hoping to get the majority of our nurses kind of on board with color. And so I know that there was, is it called prep form or yeah, it's prep form or
Prep mod.
Yeah. So from my understanding, we had prep mod kind of in place, and now it's been phased out. And so there is a way for us to work, in terms of having, if people aren't familiar with color, they can still kind of do the paper version, but it's just too difficult for us to reconcile those two. So I think just this year, we're taking kind of like a break in terms of, giving ourselves, some time to get a lot of staff trained in color, make sure everybody's kind of comfortable before we kind of attempt to bring back, the community aspect and having us take the lead on that. So from my understanding and, from, just this year, I think we're not looking to have Cataldo kind of take over operations moving forward. We're definitely this is going to be kind of an anomaly year in that aspect. So
They've had a good year, Cataldo. I mean, they have pivoted, so
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. I get it. I just like to review process.
Yeah, and I think decisions like this moving forward, obviously, it really should be with the whole board. So this is hopefully not going to set a precedent. This is going to be just a one-off type thing, and we'll make decisions with the board. So
Yep.
Yeah.
I just figured you'd like to hear that. Not to be difficult. All right. We have minutes to look at, do we, Candace?
We do. We got 3.
Okay.
Do we want to start? Let's start with, I suppose, the
July.
furthest one back, 7/21. Laurel, anything?
As far as I see, it looks good. Maureen did a fabulous job that night. It seems so long ago. So I make a motion to accept the minutes as submitted. Good job, Cindy.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye, Gorville.
Linehan, also aye.
All right.
So moving on to August 11th. That's the joint meeting with the city of Melrose. I thought it looked good. Laurel?
Yep, I believe so too. Oh man, there's a long one. Yep, I make a motion to accept as submitted the minutes for the joint boards of health on August 11th, 2021.
I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye. Gorville.
Orville, aye. Linehan, aye. And last but not least, the 30th, which is the joint meeting with the town council.
Yep.
My first name is consistently spelled wrong, but other than that, I thought it was fun.
Candence. Oh, goodness.
You
Okay.
guys are just trying to get me to be Candance. I know, I feel you. It's okay. You're looking for a show. We're all on video. I know.
Candance.
No,
Yeah, I
That
know.
is not, that is a small, unimportant change that actually doesn't matter. But
No, but we should do it. We should do it when we catch it. I wonder if spell check did that, but that wouldn't have made any sense. I didn't see, I just want to double check that it came out the way I said it would. And yep, what do I want to do?
Make a motion.
Make a motion
maybe?
to accept these minutes as stated.
I'll second. I'll
With
second that
the,
motion.
with the fixing of the first name of our chair.
All in favor?
Aye, Gorville.
Linehan, aye. Excellent. So that's it for minutes. And then, Anthony, did you have anything else that you wanted to share? Like from your end, or we could get to discussing a new board member?
Yeah, I think I'm good unless there are any questions.
I have one question. I don't know when the right time to ask it was. It's not really a direct question for you. It's kind of a general COVID question. I can wait until the end, or I can ask it now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we're friends with one of the coaches of the youth soccer group, and
Yes.
they had a positive test. And because we are family friends, they were kind of asking what to do. And it brought up something interesting, and I wondered if maybe there was a policy that I just didn't know about. These folks did home tests. And Elaine, I think you're possibly the right person. They didn't really have much help as far as guidance and contact tracing. They were kind of out in the weeds because those tests never get reported unless you report them. And I feel like now with more folks having access to home tests, do we have the right education out there? And are we prepared as the health department to support people and then offer contact tracing for these people? So, I mean, I kind of guided these folks, and they knew what to do anyway. They were smart folks and they read the CDC website. They did everything right, but they kind of felt like they were on their own because nobody ever contacted them about these results. They never really got a touch from the health department. Elaine, you're on mute if you're.
Yeah, so I think whoever is the host has to unmute her.
Oh.
Did
I
anyone
don't
sign
know
up
if
as
anyone's
a?
a host. I didn't grab it, but maybe hold up.
What the hell? They've changed it on me. Where be under participants? No one's the host.
No one grabbed host.
Okay. Well, let me. I can't.
You got
do
it, Laurel?
No. Is anybody claiming host? So Elaine, you can't undo yourself?
Hold on. I have the host key. Hold on a second. I apologize.
So claim host
Uh,
and then unmute Elaine. Go into participants.
All right, I got it. Hold on. Host key is.
Otherwise Elaine's gonna have to write in the comments. I don't even know this one
But
has
she
one.
was talking earlier.
I know.
I am the host.
Right.
I'm asking you to unmute. Can you see? Can you try again, Elaine?
She muted herself because she was talking earlier.
You're right, she was.
I
Okay,
don't know if I can.
hold on.
That happened to me. There's nothing you're gonna be able to do. She muted herself.
I'm gonna call you and give you volume this way. That's how we do it in my family when we mess up our Zoom calls. We're like, somebody just call. Elaine, just tell us.
Hi, Laura.
All right, that's an echo.
Something about there's some hand over my mute thing, and it says the host wants to unmute, but
Yeah,
it's not doing it.
and it won't let you do it? Oh, okay, this isn't
No.
working.
Wait a minute, I gotta go away. Is it better?
Yeah, all right. Can you guys hear her?
The reason, Candace, with the home test is the home tests are not considered valid because they are not witnessed. They are not reported to the Maven or to anything to the state if they're positive. For now, if anybody has a positive home test, we ask them to go and get a PCR, and they should get it in 2 days. There's talk of possibility an app being developed that when the person actually does their home test, they will be able to show that it is them doing it, and the results will be taken and sent into the state. We can't follow them. We can't really contact trace them because, it's the usual thing. It's nothing, and it's not a proven case until you receive that report from the state. The other thing is that we're trying our best when people do report that they've had a positive test. I've had a lot of cases lately that will call their primary care, and the primary cares are directing them to have a PCR. We advise them to not go anywhere, to kind of start the isolation, but to really and truly don't send your kids to school. Hold off until you can get that PCR to make sure that it really is positive. Because I'll be honest, 99% of the cases, symptoms are so mild. They're vaccinated people, and it's very rare. We're having a lot of people who tell us they have like allergy symptoms and they go away in a day. And then like 4 or 5 days later, they lose their taste or smell. And that's when they're going for their test. And that's when they're finding out they're positive. And the other thing too is that, I don't know if you are aware, Jesse has changed some of their regulations, and it's going to be a very, very difficult job for school nurses. We're meeting as some contact tracers in about an hour or so to go over, but school nurses now have got to differentiate whether or not a student was exposed at school, and they're a school case, or they're a community case. It's extremely confusing. It's taken me a day and a half, and I still don't even quite get it. I got to reread. But that's another thing that's going to, it's going to cause, I think it's more confusion, because if a kid is exposed at school and he tests negative, he can come to school, he can go to school activities, but he can't do anything out in the community. I don't know.
That's kind of weird.
With these nappies.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense, and it's going. I feel bad for the nurses, and I feel bad for parents. It's very confusing, extremely confusing. So we're meeting tonight, a few of us, and with Catherine, Melissa, and the 2 of the contact tracers from Wakefield to see what we can kind of do and see if we can set up something that will help the schools both in Melrose and in Wakefield to understand this.
All right. So basically, if someone does have a home positive test, we should really just encourage them to go and get a PCR, whether it's at their PCP's
Right.
office or at a testing site.
Right.
And right now, like, what's the best testing site, best local testing site?
Square One Mall.
Okay, still.
They are in AFC in Stoneham. They do PVs over there, I believe. I know Square One, there's been people, and they're getting their results back like the next morning. They're very, very quick.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Elaine, I don't know what to do. I'm going to take you off speaker until you need to speak again, because it's got a little weird. Oh, all right. So that makes sense, Candace, right? Like it's this gray area. Yeah.
It's totally gray, and I feel like it's really confusing for folks, that are. It sounds like a good idea to test at home. I think I have COVID. Maybe I shouldn't go into a place where a bunch of other people are. They have this test. If it's available, it should be reliable. It's hard. And then it just takes the whole public health aspect almost out of it and leaves folks to make their own decisions, which is tough.
Yeah. We have been hearing, I'm sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
Oh, sorry. I can finish later.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, we have been hearing that families know what to do. Catherine has told me that as well. So, that's good news, that I think the message is, like the health behavior is been reinforced ad nauseum, but probably, I wonder if we should do a little bit, either, maybe we should start in those Friday COVID meetings to say, like it Wake Up, Catherine does 7-minute clinics. So maybe we should say, okay, the update on kids and home tests is, I don't know how many people are actually watching that thing, but, maybe we need to start being more deliberate and taking advantage rather than going, the numbers are blah, 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 keep up your good work. Maybe you should actually put a little content in there. We'll see. I've been able to stay on those. So Anthony, just again, regarding process and who's on the COVID, I don't, a board member doesn't have to be there, but generally there's a town council member there. And so I'm always kind of mindful that if any other elected official is on a call and it has to do with public health, that one of us should be there. And my schedule has just allowed me to do so. And so Candace, anytime you want to hop in on a Friday, but I think that's your clinic time.
Yeah, I work 8 to 5 every day. So
Yeah,
if it's
so-
during those hours, I'm out.
So that's just, I don't necessarily need to say anything on those, but I think it's good because it's important in many of these regards that we know what our counterparts are hearing. And it's just good practice if we can do it.
I was gonna say, for the at-home test, the question you brought up, it's consistent with what we just discussed. So I had a meeting with Steve. This was regarding the town facilities, so like, inside town hall and, any of our municipal buildings here. So we were talking about just revising some of the COVID policies, that's travel and vaccination status and everything. And one of the things I had pushed for in the wording, and that's going to be reflected in the newly released documents, is, the PCR. We can have people testing at home if they want to, but we have a strict policy of, coming back from travel, if you're unvaccinated, it's quarantine for 7 days, and then 3 to 5 days after arrival, they can do the PCR test. So we stress that that's the test that we want. We can't accept at-home tests. So this should be consistent with the kind of messaging we're putting out there for, after school activities and everything, that the PCR test is still the gold standard. So.
Cool. Okay. Do we want to talk about a new Board of Health member?
We need to talk about process.
How we would or when?
So,
or
well,
if?
there's legalities. So Elaine bailed us out in a very unique way. So Elaine, I have you back on speaker, but I'm getting interference. So I believe the process is, and Anthony, I don't know if you've been appraised of this, that the town council has to put out an invitation to fill a vacancy. They can't just reinstate Elaine.
Right.
So Elaine, you're going to write a letter of interest again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Go back.
I know.
Happy nature. Yeah, I'll be in Disney in a couple of minutes. I have to, I did speak to town council, and to be reinstated, I have to write a letter to Tom Mullen, and I have to write a letter to the council, and I believe also to the board.
Okay.
Stating that I would like to be reinstated to finish my term.
Yeah.
Which ends in April of 2022, at which time there will be another election.
Right. That'll help us all. Okay. I don't know, but I think the other possibility is that the position would be posted. I don't know if that, I was just speaking to town council chair and, amongst other things. So I don't know if that will be the case, but we get, this got to be so squirrely as things can be in emergency. So as we back out, we just want to follow process. So it's not really, there's nothing really the board can do until such a time as those letters get processed and it gets presented back to us. So hopefully that will be by the next meeting. Right? That's our hope. And town council meets every other week, right? At least.
Yeah, I think this is like the first time that this has happened.
Yep.
I don't know.
I'm
So
sure.
I'm just going to follow what Tom Holland told me
Yep.
what to do, and
Yep.
I will follow that.
Yep. We can't wait. We need to be our three amigos again. Amigos. But you've still been there. Okay.
All right, so Elaine, your plan is to submit those letters of intention, interest, and see what the town council says, and then should they make us aware about, and then do you have to be sworn in again or some kind of
Mhm.
process there? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I imagine it will be a joint.
Yeah, I'm kind of losing my connection, but I think you can. Oh,
We can hear you.
you came back completely.
What can,
Oh, wait a minute. I don't know. I think they're doing some construction work in this neighborhood, and I don't know. I think they're interfering with the lovely thing. Yes, I am. I will submit that. I just found out about this just after the weekend, so I'm in the process of doing everything, and I'll follow them, and I'm sure they'll update you as to what the correct process will be after this.
okay. We look
But
forward to
until
that.
then, I'm still my contact tracer.
Right. Right. We can't thank you enough.
Yeah, thank you. It's
Okay.
been an honor and a pleasure to do it.
All right, I'm gonna turn you off of, just flag me if you want to talk again, Elaine, because there's feedback on my phone. So I'm just gonna put you off speaker. Okay, off speaker. Madam Chair, can I talk about other business in regards to Wake Up?
I would welcome it.
Okay. So we are in year 8 of Wake Up. I don't know if we're in year 8 of the grant or year 7 of the grant. And I just came across, so thankful to Kara Showers, who did the spreadsheet on how many grants and when they're expiring and who does, it's kind of the who's who. But, in regards to process again, this beer garden from Idle Hands is a pop-up planned for this Saturday, and it was approved by town council. And just as a reminder, Catherine actually presented best practices in regards to alcohol licensing and pop-up events. And, when I heard about it from a couple members of town council and how it was going, because we as a Board of Health don't manage alcohol licensing, I was like, it is what it is. But then, and then I kind of did a second take. I'm like, wait a minute, we're doing COVID shots during a beer garden. And maybe that's definitely in the public health meet people where they are. But I did just have a conversation with Julie Smith Galvin, just saying, could you just please remember we have a stakeholder always in best practices in regards to these events as it pertains to the mission of Wake Up. So again, I'm being a squeaky wheel, but she was, absolutely in agreement with that and thoughtful, and some of our people will be there and let us know how it goes. But Anthony, is just, kind of the background. We keep doing all this messaging, and then we have, things just kind of happen. And, absolutely, we don't want to be the Debbie Downers of an event, but we always want to just say, okay, the best practice for this is, A, B, and C in regards to things. And in fact, Liz Parsons, I'll forward you the email. Already sent kind of if you're going to do these things, be mindful of kind of the safeguards around it. I don't think there's any contraindication in having a beer and a vaccine at the same time. I haven't seen any research, but and we are, and people are being very creative about where we're approaching folks. I had patients this summer who told me that, they were being offered like their marijuana of choice. I said, I would rather, caffeine, but,
Yeah. What I will say is, I had a chance to speak with Catherine about kind of the way this was marketed. Both her, I agree with everything she said, and both her and I agree that this is not optimal. So, with this event kind of being advertised as kind of family friendly, also involving alcohol, but also getting the COVID shot, it's just kind of a mix of things that couldn't, that really shouldn't be promoted together. I think, the alcohol and the family friendliness. I think one of the things moving forward, for these events, I understand completely why, there's a certain demographic that we're hoping to reach, and this might be the way, to reach that demographic, but along the way, some of the messaging may not be consistent with some of the work we've been trying to promote.
Right.
So one of the things I think moving forward is we'll just have a sit down, and I have a regular meeting with Steve, just on all things, in the town going on and stuff. I'll probably just bring up gently, saying,
Mhm.
this is the kind of work we're doing, and it's not to say that this is going to derail all of it, but really just to make sure that we're mindful of the way that we're presenting this.
Yep.
And so that makes sense.
Yeah, that's all we asked.
Yeah.
Shoot, I had another thought. Oh, and one more thought. Going forward, and we can certainly move this as an agenda in October, but I think other colleagues have done this in town, but our department, and from the top, Anthony, is new. And as a board, we don't know everybody who's new and what they do. And I'm wondering if we could consider doing a retreat. And other boards have done retreat. You have to post it as an open meeting. Nobody comes for the most part, but town council did it sometime last year. School committee did it recently. But to me, we might want to think about it being both, a department retreat with board members welcome, or maybe board members coming at the end or at some point, because we've had such a we're really unusual, like people in school committee don't go in and teach a class. They but we have always kind of been both sort of the policy setting people, but also during vaccine things and emergency drills, we've popped in as the volunteers. And I think I've just so enjoyed working with everybody in the department, but I kind of have lost who's who and who's doing what. And now everybody's moved. Like I went to town hall to find people and they had moved. So, and I kind of knew that was happening. So I don't know what the feasibility of timing would be, but it's just I'm just thinking now might be the time, kind of set back. And Cindy, you deserve, we should probably have a massage table or some kind of team building, because it's a rough year, and we can't forget about it, how far we've traveled.
It's not unique, but Cindy's been working so hard, just working overtime, and I see her in the office, last one to leave, first one to get there. I just, and that's a lot of our staff too, right? So I totally support that, and just get to know each other a little bit and what we're hoping to plan and do here. I think it's a great idea. And
fun. There should be some fun. I'm so tired of talking about pandemics. Our own mental health day, for sure. That's all I have. I'll stop talking.
Anybody have anything else? Next meeting?
Where's my book?
Oh, Elaine wants to say something.
Oh, coming. Hold on.
Oh, I guess, or maybe she's waving goodbye. I'm not sure.
Do you have it? What do you got?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I have one question. In regards to when Cataldo does the flu clinics, right? Are they providing the vaccine, or are we providing that?
We are providing the vaccine. So we have an order from a previous. So when Karen used to be doing the ordering, we had a store already in place. They've just, I think half of them just arrived today. But we provide the vaccine as the answer.
Okay. So therefore, maybe Cindy would be able to, how with color, we also, as the vaccine is administered, is all of Cataldo's EMTs going to administer it? Right? No nurses, am I correct? Or nurses that they have.
Did you want me to add something? Elaine, so with color being so new and we're just learning, I have an email out today to see if there's a way that they could administer 2 different lots. In other words, high dose and regular dose at a clinic? I don't know, and I think the answer is gonna be no. So,
Yeah, you
What-
can, yeah, on the color you can. Melissa and I looked at that. And I think you can. And there's another community that's going to do a clinic with it. And they're gonna let me know. But my thing is that once it goes in on color, that's taken from our inventory. Okay? So will it go in right so that we won't have a mixture in our inventories to account? Like in MIIS,
so we are gonna give them the vaccine. We're gonna give them enough for, say, 250.
right?
Because I think we went back to stats from the previous year. We combined the two clinics that we've had. And we said we can probably we'll probably get 250, and I don't even know if we'll get that at this Festival by the Lake, first clinic one. So we'll give them that amount. They will put it in their color system, then give us back what's not used. So that in the end of the clinic, they'll know what they vaccinated and compare to what we've given them, then give us back our vaccine.
Okay, all right. And now I understand, but will that do anything different to the payment for you to figure out when they
It-
have time for the?
So once it's in color, that goes right to the state. So they
Right.
have contracted out obviously with the state or with UMass. We won't get reimbursement for
Right,
that.
right.
We won't get reimbursed for the administration fee at all?
No, because we're not gonna be administering. So, we won't be the administrating.
Okay, so, all right, so therefore, question, when we got reimbursed before for the administration fee, didn't that go back into our revolving account for the health department?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
So we're gonna
That
take a
means
hit.
that we will not get anything replenished from the flu clinics this year into that account, am I correct?
That's right. Unless we do, if we do our little clinics, like the employee clinic, the senior center.
Yep.
If color is not able to separate out regular dose and high dose, I suggested that we have someone there to do the high dose at the Festival by the Lake, and that would be us.
Okay,
And we also have family night for that as well. So I think that's gonna be part of the reimbursement as well, because we will be doing the family night. It won't be Cattell though.
I know I just wanted to say, for years, we had gone back to looking at the stats, and Karen, year after year, would say how we don't make money off these clinics. We didn't do it because of that. We did it because of just doing it and being the health department and a service to the residents,
right, that's correct.
If I can, maybe by next meeting, I can maybe show you, so it makes you feel a little like it's not about I don't think it was ever about the money. But we have contracted out with UMass, and
Right.
if we're gonna use them for billing, we have to use this system.
Yeah, that's correct. I know that. I just didn't know if it would, so we have to, it's something that's probably most gonna have to, because when you transfer that amount of vaccine, that has to be noted in the MIIS. And I don't want to wait. We've had problems, last year with COVID clinics with that. And that's very hard. I just didn't understand if they're running the clinic, then they'll do the setup, right? They'll do all the administration and all the cleanup and everything completely. So there won't be any involvement at all with any volunteers from Wakefield or anything like that.
That's correct.
So
Okay, I
we need,
just wanted to make double sure. I was just unclear about that. Thank you.
we need to clarify the expectation of volunteers. So
Yeah.
I think a second round of memos has to go out saying, whether or not, just like we did, we were very explicit for COVID. In regards to, what people's job was. So I can certainly guide Melissa, and because, usually it is a public health nurse who manages the volunteers. And I think we should have a side project going forward on what our ideal is in managing volunteers, because this hybrid is gonna, I get it for this year, but I think we need to optimize an opportunity that people really like to do, because the whole point of doing public vaccine clinics was also so we had eyes on the same people year after year. It wasn't just about the flu vaccine. It was about, hey, Mrs. Reynolds, you're still with, you're with us. It literally was a snapshot community assessment. So I think, we old timers are kind of married to that model. And we just need to be thoughtful about it. So yeah, I mean, it was nice that it was an awful lot of work. I'm just hoping that, we're not double tracking with Cataldo. So it sounds like, Cindy, that you have a handle on it. So it'd be interesting to kind of, let's like talk about it in January and say, so what do we think? How did that go?
Yeah.
And what were the pros and cons? Because, it's definitely pros, but if they're, so on the 2nd, are they doing, just remind me I'm not even available that day, but we were asked to be there.
Right.
Who's doing what?
So this all happened towards, like, maybe late last week, early this week. We, talked it out with Steve and Tom, and
Yeah.
for the 2nd, we are still going to have two tables at Festival by the Lake, just as the health department.
Okay.
And Cataldo will be alongside. People know we'll be there, so I'm sure they're going to be set up with us there.
Okay, they're not doing COVID that day, they're only doing
No.
flu? Okay,
So they'll come, it's been advertised through us 10 to 3, and
Yep.
I'm sure they're going to be in the same section as us, and we'll still be there. But like I said, the only change may be we may need new 2 nurses, maybe, just in case we have to do high dose. And I mean, we wouldn't even, maybe, I thought Melissa and I could handle it.
okay,
But if you're welcome to, just hang out with us, and we can just do our regular health department thing that we would do at Festival by the Lake that we would have in June.
right, of course, yeah.
So,
Yep.
so that's for the 2nd. We are
Okay.
doing an employee clinic, and that's going to be here right in the office. And Melissa will be there. We will need another nurse for that. I think, Elaine, you know about that. That's 9 to 5. That's already been out. I've already had half of the people register. That's for the employees.
Mhm. Great.
And then we will do 1021 with Cataldo, and that's a drive-through. We won't be involved in that.
And that's okay with the school in that location?
Yep, I think Tom spoke with Dan, and yep, they worked it out.
So we did ask the questions about the practices going on and the games, and they made sure that there were no games going on that day. There are some standard practices going on, but in terms of traffic flow and police presence and everything, Tom was able to speak with the school manager and the parks to make sure that that was going to be okay.
Cool, right.
So one other thing I did want to mention too, Laurel, was that I'm waiting to hear from, and normally, like you mentioned, Karen would do all this, but Kelly Qualey, the lead nurse for the school, they were meeting this morning, a nurses meeting, or tomorrow morning, it's one or the other, about how they're gonna vaccinate their staff, which Kelly usually comes in, I give her 20 vials, and then she distributes to each school, and they vaccinate. With color, they have to get on board with trying to learn color. So I thought I wait to talk to her and see if maybe they have a half day or professional development day that we could help maybe do all the staff in one day. It's just another thing to think about, because they do their staff, and I get about 180 to 200 back from them a year. So we don't want to kind of lose that.
And
but
there's an interesting history. So we were asked to help at the high school and the middle school, and I remember having a little bit of a rant with the principal because they were trickling in. And really the message to me was that our services were not being respected. And that was exactly my attitude. I said, listen, I can give 100 shots in half an hour if everyone, if we go military style and everyone lines up and we have good admin, but people were trickling in and forgetting to come and this and that. So I think we have such a much stronger alliance with our public health nurses, with our school nurses who are school department employees. I've been very impressed with their involvement with all of this, but they're already being pushed to the limit. So if we, I'd be happy to help them out, but
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there for 4 hours waiting for people to come in during their breaks. So we'll, we can finesse that. Just let us know. Whoop, we lost Elaine. Elaine, did you leave?
Well, we have to wrap up by 6:30 anyways.
Yep, because you have your next meeting, right? Okay.
So I think it's the 20th.
Okay.
7 o'clock.
Yep.
Cool.
I'll make sure. And as you know tonight, that on the website we had 5:30, but the item said 7 p.m. So whoever's in this Zoom room is going to be waiting for a health department meeting.
Huh.
It's fine. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
So,
I move to
yeah, thank
adjourn.
you. All right, I second the motion. All in favor?
Aye. 4 votes.
I will adjourn at 6:28.